Okay, quickly go back to the events because I want to show you at least one thing here. Where is this event sent from? So we haven't added any kind of source. So we set up a new source. So for example, let's create two sources. So one would be like we send event from a website. And yes, we come to this in a second. And then maybe we also send some things from our backend, and we have a Python backend. So let's call this backend, not Python. Okay. So we can give it like, okay, here we have defined web. So let's call it like web app to make it more clear. And here in that case, it's backend. Okay, that's fine. So these are the sources. So we can basically define which kind of events we expect coming from where. So for example, we can say the account created event is not something that we track on the website. This is something we get from the backend. So we define, okay, this comes from the backend. We could also say it comes from both places, because sometimes you do the same events from two different kind of places, and then you would use different kind of values in the property. Right now, we're just sending it from one source, but now we know it, how to do. And so let's take another one. Let's say confirmed for some reasons we can only track on the website. So this, for example, is then web. So we now have defined this, and you will also see them here appearing now. Because what we could do now is like we can do the inspector setup. So we can say let's set up for, let's do the web app. So web app, so if we would implement it in our JavaScript code, we could do it like this. But for example, because we use something like segment, we can do it like this. So what we have to do for this is like to say, okay, we also need a destination. So where do we want to send the data to? And so we say, okay, we want to send it to segment. Yes, and then we activate these two sources. Yes, please. This one, yes, please. All right. So you can see it's both connected. And then what we can then do is like, yes. So what we can then do is like, we can now go into segment, and in segment we can create functions. And so this will be not part of this this course now, but we will do another one about this. So what we can do now is like we could go into segment and we create two projects in segment, one for development and one for production. And so we could then go into here and can say, okay, for development, we copy this kind of code and we create a function in segment. And the function is basically take the event that segment is receiving and then sending these event schema back into Arvo, and then the automatic testing will appear here. And so different course where we show all the different kind of ways to set up an inspector, but just to show, okay, this would be like the place where we would now get started. So we copy the code, we create the stuff in segment, we wait a little bit, development data usually comes pretty quickly in here. And yeah, and then we can see if basically the tracking implementation is matching our tracking plan. Okay, this already looks pretty good. So what you can also do is like, so which I usually do is like to create a category to at least group things around one entity. Yep, and then let's assign the other ones here too. All right. Okay. Yeah, this already looks really good. So we have this. One thing quickly.